Yo guys, I am Sam Jones, and in this series I'm going to be firing up some local eats with everything the UK springtime and summertime has to offer. Along the way we're going to meet some familiar faces from the passenger crew, go foraging, find some local swim spots and cook up a massive feast. We're making new connections, cooking in some truly inspiring places, and I hope this sparks something inside you to get in the great outdoors. Nothing complicated, just good food cooked outdoors. So get the fire on, settle in and grab yourself a cuppa. What's up guys? Today we are going foraging and I've got my mate Stu coming along to tell me what's good at this time of the year in spring, and I'm going to see what I can make with what we forage in the dish later today. So let's go find Stu. Hi mate.
Hey buddy, all right?
How are you?
Yeah, good thanks.
Good to see you.
You too.
Beautiful spot here.
Yeah, cracking day as well.
Oh, it's lovely. I'm excited to do some foraging.
You want to go?
Yeah, let's
All
do
right,
it.
let's do it. After you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, let's head down here.
It's looking very luscious and green
It
down
is,
here.
yeah. We've got all the primroses, all the pennywort, wall pennywort.
Okay.
It's a really nice succulent ingredient.
Mm-hmm.
The closest thing that you might have tasted that would be, I could describe it as, is like bean sprouts.
Yeah,
It's got the
yeah.
same crunch, that same succulence. Just check
Wow.
that you haven't got any creepy crawlies on there,
Yeah.
and you can munch that as it is. But they'll bring a good amount of nutrition to a dish as well.
Okay, yeah.
Most wild plants are really high in vitamins and minerals.
Really nice. Really
Yeah.
fresh.
I sort of think of similar sort of things to cucumber, maybe that sort of
Real
succulence.
watery.
I spend most of the time just eating
Just
as I'm going.
munching on it, yeah. Nature's snack.
Yeah. But yeah, just to the left of our pennywort, we've got common sorrel, one of my all-time faves. The summer it's producing flowers and seeds, and it's best when it's producing the flowers.
Yeah, okay.
But what we're after is the leaf. The leaf has backwards facing, sharply pointed lobes. They face backwards down the stem towards the base of the plant, and as you flatten that out, you'll see that's got a real defined sharp point to it.
Yeah. It's
That
almost
little-
like a fishtail in a way.
Exactly,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like a fishtail. So look at the plant, flatten it out, make sure it's got a fishtail. Just pick one leaf at a time, check every leaf.
Yeah.
Because if you pick the wrong thing, it's not going to kill you, but it is going to poison you.
Yeah, okay.
So the one that looks like it is lords and ladies. So the main thing is our sharp points on there. But also sorrel's got a little sort of groove
Oh yeah.
in the stem there on the top, whereas lords and ladies is much more rounded. So again, if in doubt, don't pick it. But they do grow sometimes in the same habitat, so it's a possible, it's possible that you might make that mistake.
Yeah.
But as long as you're paying attention and checking every leaf,
Yeah.
you shouldn't have any problem.
Okay.
So yeah, pick some of that. Again, just check that it hasn't got any bugs on there.
Yeah.
And have a little taste. Or a bigger
Oh
leaf.
wow.
It's good, isn't it?
What? I was not expecting that.
No,
That's
exactly.
amazing.
It's like you're kind of used to like sort of green plants tasting a certain way. This is like somebody's just squeezed a lemon in your mouth.
Ooh. With a bit of earthiness.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. I love that. God, that's exciting. It's got my creative juices flowing.
I
for what
bet,
can
yeah.
make
It's
now.
got your saliva going, but
Yeah.
also, yeah, your kind of mind going.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we've got wild garlic along here,
Oh
Sam.
yeah, amazing.
You come across that before?
Yeah, I'm familiar with this. I sort of go picking in Dorset, and there's loads of woodlands with it, and you can usually smell it, can't you?
Yeah,
like walking
yeah. Especially
past.
when the sun's on it like this, it often gets that really garlicky smell, and you smell it before you see it.
Yeah, exactly.
It starts to come up in early February, runs through March, April, into the like early summer as well for parts of the plant that we can
Okay.
use.
And doesn't it flower and then it gets
Yeah.
less sort of flavour in it when it flowers?
So yeah, we've got the leaves really early on. Then we've got the flower buds. They're a really good ingredient for pickles, ferments. They'll have a real nice crunch to them, a real nice garlicky flavour.
Give it a try. Oh yeah. It's so different to the leaf, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is, yeah, definitely. And then once you kind of got those other flavours that you're going to get from fermentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's delicious.
Nice.
Really like that.
Yeah.
Maybe we get some more of those.
Yeah.
I have onion breath now. Garlic breath.
Yeah. But yeah, leaves are really nice and substantial. So, and you can't really mistake them for anything poisonous. Certainly, if you've got a
if you smell it,
sense of smell, yeah, you can tell that's
so
you can tell
strong.
that's garlicky.
So yeah, I think I'm going to make a butter today for the flatbread. So if we can grab quite a few of the leaves and maybe some of the other parts I haven't used yet, we can do something.
Yeah, you can play around with. And I tend to just sort of pick one leaf at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's tempting to grab like fistfuls of it.
Yeah.
But what you need to be aware of, you should only pick a third of any one plant that you're picking. And legally, what you're allowed to pick are known as the 4 Fs. So you've got flowers, fruit, foliage, and fungi. So fungi is mushrooms. Foliage is leaves.
Yeah.
Flowers, pretty straightforward. And fruit would be anything like blackberries, wild strawberries, bilberries. So yeah, those are the things you can legally pick. What you're not allowed to do is uproot a plant in the wild unless you've got permission from the landowner.
Yeah.
So it's basically designed to protect rare plants, orchids, bluebells, things like that.
Yeah.
You're not going to get arrested for digging up a dandelion or some horseradish, but the same law applies.
It's important though, it is important.
It is important. If everyone was to forage, it could be really sustainable habit as long as everyone's following those rules, those golden rules.
Thanks for today, it's been amazing.
I'll be interested to see what you cook up with this.
Let's go cook something.
All right.
I'm going to take one of these primrose for the road.
Yeah. Nice little bit of a hedgerow snack on the way.
Okay, we are back from our forage, and today we are going to use those ingredients we foraged with Stu in a lovely wood-fired mushroom shawarma with homemade flatbreads. So to kick things off, got my flour in the bowl, measured out. The recipe's in the description. So I've got my yogurt in here. You can use Greek yogurt. I'm using oat Greek yogurt, but you can use full-fat Greek yogurt like you usually do. And just get that in the bowl. Just going with a teaspoon of your baking powder and a pinch of salt. And mix that together until it forms a shaggy dough. And then we're going to knead it out on a clean surface till it forms a round dough. And if it's too dry or too wet, just add more yogurt or more flour until it combines and comes together. Get a sprinkle of flour. This flour is going to keep the dough dry so it doesn't become too sticky in your hands when you're kneading. It only needs a 5 to 10 minute knead, and it should eventually come into a smooth ball, and it should sort of feel light and fluffy, and that's going to create the pillowy texture when you're cooking it in the oven. You can make up to 4 flatbreads with this, but I tend to like them sort of big. So 4 flatbreads will be small ones, but if you want big ones like me, then this will make 2 quite easily, and they're so much better than shop-bought flatbreads and really easy to do. It's literally 10 to 15 minutes of your time, and you can do everything else whilst this is just sitting and resting. So as you can see, it's smoothed out nicely into a ball. Just get a tea towel over there, and I'm going to go wash my hands and we'll get cracking with the mushrooms. So today we are cooking a mushroom shawarma. I'm using 2 types of mushrooms. We've got portobello here, which sort of holds its sort of texture really nicely, and mixed in with some oyster mushrooms, which are almost act like a pulled sort of chicken style meat sort of replacement. I've already pulled a load here, so this is kind of what they look like, and they'll sort of shrink down slightly when they're cooking, so that looks like a lot there, but they do reduce in size. So this is your oyster mushroom, and all you have to do is pull the skin, and it will sort of tear down the stalk like that, and it will create almost a pulled chicken-like texture. And you get bigger ones, you get smaller ones. There's 2 techniques of doing this. You can skewer it with 2 skewers, and you just go through the stem, and you sort of build it up as you would sort of a mushroom kebab or shawarma, and you can sort of roll it over a sort of open fire pit or over a spit. I tend to do that if I'm sort of showing off over a big group table. Like if you're trying to show off like the meat dish, I'm going to compare with my big mushroom shawarma. I've done it at Christmas dinner tables and sort of things like this. So that's more of a show off sort of way of doing it. But today we're cooking it in the pizza oven. So I'm just gonna cook it in a skillet, and probably the easier way of doing it is, like I just showed you, grabbing a big sort of oyster mushroom like this and pulling it down the stem. And it does the same thing, you're just not slicing it and it's not as showy on the dinner table. But this takes sort of a bit less time and faff. But Stu's actually behind the camera, who we went foraging with earlier. When you're sort of cooking your sort of big cook-ups, do the mushrooms sort of get as much attention as the meat?
Definitely, yeah. I always sort of say that if somebody says, oh, I don't like mushrooms, they've just not had them either the right mushroom or cooked in the right way.
Yeah.
It's like saying you don't like meat,
Yeah.
but beef and chicken are completely worlds apart, and if they're cooked in, you know, certain recipes, they can be completely different.
Exactly, yeah. It's just knowing how to cook them and how to do them well.
Yeah, do them justice.
So we've got a big old bowl of mushrooms. Always overbuy with mushrooms because they do shrink, but this will feed 4 or 5 people easily with the flatbreads. The flatbreads are quite filling themselves. So with the portobellos, just slice them sort of into strips like this. And again, they will shrink down. It's just another texture to get in amongst the oysters. And they've got sort of more of a nutty flavor. And again, like with the skewering, these mushrooms actually hold in between the oyster mushrooms quite well. So I tend to use these on the skewers as well. Cool. So next up, I'm gonna make a little marinade for those mushrooms. So we've got a number of spices here that kind of typically go into shawarma mix. I'd go like a teaspoon of cumin, tablespoon of smoked paprika. It's gonna give it that smokiness. Be generous with that. Ground coriander. Again, just about a teaspoon. Some salt, generous pinch. And some cracked pepper. So going with a healthy glug of oil, because mushrooms don't have any fat in them, so you need to give them fat to sort of coat them well and cook them well. So don't be shy with the oil. And then the last ingredient, you can use 3 different things for this. So you can get pomegranate molasses, but it's quite hard to find in the supermarket. So I'm using date molasses just for a bit of sweetness. But you can also just use balsamic glaze. It's quite sweet, so just going with a teaspoon to start. And you can adjust as you go. Mix that together. And again, you want this to coat all of the mushrooms. So if you need more, use more, but this should be enough for a healthy amount of mushrooms. So just set that aside. And next up, we're gonna make a little salad with the star of the show from earlier. All the forage goods we picked. So I didn't pick this red onion, but just for a bit of sharpness, I'm gonna add that in there. I'm not gonna use a lot, just about a quarter of the onion. So you want these onions to be quite thin. We're gonna go in with some tomatoes as well. All right, just get a bit of salt into the tomatoes and red onion. That's just gonna bring out the juices of the tomatoes, and it's just gonna soften up the red onion. We don't want to overkill this salad too much with too many ingredients, because we want the sort of forage goods that we've picked to be the star of the show. Talking of star of the show, Stu, do you want to come in and give us a hand to what we got going on from our amazing things we picked?
I think the forage stuff's going to work really well. Obviously, everyone knows kind of what tomatoes and onions taste like.
Yeah.
Not everyone necessarily knows what some of these are going to work with, but yeah.
So I think I want a citrusy flavour in here.
Yeah. So you're going to go your sorrel?
Yeah,
the common
I think
sorrel.
sorrel.
Yeah. A few sorrel leaves here.
So if we had smell-o-vision, this sorrel is really citrusy. So I'm not going to put lemon into the salad. I'm just going to use this to give it that citrusy sort of crunch. And then we've got the freshness from the mint and lemon balm. In terms of into the salad, I think I'm just going to go with these 2 for now.
Yeah, keep it nice and simple, nice and fresh.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can be tempted to like kind of throw
chuck everything in.
But actually, you say just kind of keeping it simple. Those complement each other so well.
Exactly, yeah. Just going to roughly chop these. Just going to go in with a tiny glug of oil, not a lot, just a tiny bit, and then give that a nice stir. Cool, so we've got our salad. Before we carry on, I've been a rude guest. Do you want a beer?
Love one, thanks.
I mean, it'd be rude not to, wouldn't it?
As long as you're having one as well.
Yeah, why not?
Oh.
It's always a Friday somewhere.
Good health.
Yeah. Delicious. Now the heavens have opened as well.
This is a typical thing about cooking outdoors,
especially
just as you get
in
ready
England.
to.
All right, I'm gonna get cracking with this dough. It wouldn't have risen too much because it hasn't got yeast in there, so don't be afraid if it hasn't risen. I'm gonna cut that into two, set one aside, roll that into a ball in your hands.
Yeah, that dough looks really nice and fluffy and light.
It's crazy, just from two ingredients, two, three ingredients.
So simple.
And you wait till you see it in there. God, gets me so excited.
Do you ever add any things into your dough? Because I sometimes will make flatbreads and add nettles or wild garlic in
I actually
there.
haven't done that. No, I should. I've seen people do it with focaccia and things like that as well. And
yeah. I mean, you don't need to. You've got so much flavour here already, but
yeah,
it is another thing that I like to do.
100%.
From cooking over the fire, just get some wild greens in the flatbreads.
Maybe we should do that. We'll do that in the next one.
Yeah.
When do you add it in?
Just whilst you're mixing the dough, really.
Oh,
You could add it in at this stage,
Yeah.
sort of near the end. But yeah, whilst the dough's still craggy, chop it up and add it in.
Nice. We got some rain getting into it somehow. Sideways rain.
Oh yeah, it's starting
There we go.
Oh yeah.
Look at that. Literally about a minute before it starts to properly
Smells
char.
really good as well.
Yeah.
So a few little bits of char is not a
that's what
problem,
you
is it?
want.
Like cooking
No.
over fire or cooking with flame like this.
Yeah.
Just that brings a little bit of flavour in there.
I'm going to try the wild garlic in this one.
Yeah.
So this is what happens when cooks come together. Share ideas on the spot. Give that a roll out. Again. Lovely. Keep that warming with the other one. All right, so you want to get a cast iron skillet. Best way to cook these mushrooms if you're not doing it over skewers or over a fire. And we're just going to warm that in the pizza oven. It will heat up quick. So once your cast iron's piping hot, which this one clearly is, we're just going to go on with a few of the mushrooms dry to start off with. But mushrooms, like I said, release loads of moisture. So at first you don't tend to need oil.
Yeah, I can see them steaming away.
Yeah, they're already
there.
steaming, they're not even in the oven. So just get a nice generous pinch of salt on there, and then we're just going to toss them all together, get them back in the oven, and then add the rest on once they've shrunk. So if you're using a conventional oven at home, whack it to its full temp because we want the mushrooms to sort of crisp on the edges. Right,
So it's like pizza ovens often cook at such a high temperature, don't they?
yeah,
Which really helps
It does
sealing
really
the
help.
flavour.
so we get that back in. About 2 minutes, I'd say. You can see they're already sort of wilting down. They're like, no! So you can see the moisture's already coming out. So they've shrunk massively compared to what I put them in like. And once that moisture's evaporated, that's when they'll start to crisp up and we'll add the oil and the seasonings. Right, I'm gonna now dress these in the seasoning. Make sure that's all mixed up and every bit of mushroom is coated. So at the moment they look quite sort of wet, but that oil is gonna help crisp them up. And back in. And now we should see the crisp happen. So, we've got some more wild garlic down here.
Yeah, washed by the rain.
Washed by the rain. So just break that down, release the oils.
Well, that's looking really nice. The colour of that.
Yeah.
I can say all the butter goes really nice and green.
Yeah. Right. So whilst those are doing their final crisp, I'm just gonna get these back out. They're still warm, which is great news because I didn't lie to you guys. And just get a spoonful of this butter, spread it all over the flatbread.
Oh yeah, that smells great.
Yeah.
So those spices just...
You can smell the cumin,
Yeah.
can't you? And rain's getting heavier, guys. And then I'm going to quickly whack these back in the oven. Right, I'm just going to hold it onto the paddle because it doesn't need long at all. There's nothing better than the smell of onion and garlic cooking. Cool. Smells great. Smell that.
Oh yeah.
Colours are popping.
Yeah.
Don't want to get too much juice on there because it's going to make the flatbread wet. So all those lovely foraged greens.
Yeah.
Right, you can finish this with either yogurt or a whipped tahini, which I did in the last episode, or the first episode, sorry. But I think I'm just going to keep it like this because of our foraged goods today.
Yeah.
So what do we think?
We could always put a bit of pennyworth on there.
I think pennyworth would be nice.
Yeah. I would say you eat with your eyes, don't you? So
Yeah.
having some of this visual, but also it's there
Tasty
bringing
as
flavour
well,
as
yeah.
well. So it looks good, but we know it's going to taste good as well.
I think we're good to tuck on in.
Yeah,
After
that's
you.
the other good thing about the outdoors. There's so
You
many
can
good
drop
things about
food
it.
on the floor.
But you can drop food on the floor. You don't need plates.
No.
You don't need cutlery. Oh, this is going to be messy.
Yeah, it's a big boy. Cheers.
Messy but delicious. Cheers. Thank you. That's really good.
Oh wow. I can taste so many of the foraged bits.
Yeah, I think everything's like really nicely balanced.
Yeah.
There's definitely like a freshness.
Yeah.
Probably from the sorrel and the mint and the lemon balm.
And then I've just got that citrusy
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, I had a crunch from the pennyworth a second ago. Like
Yeah.
a really nice texture.
Texture, yeah. And then the meatiness from the mushrooms.
Yeah. And that dough, yeah, amazed by like that 2 ingredients or
fluffy,
3
isn't
when
it?
you got the garlic in there.
Yeah,
But that's really light and fluffy.
Well, Stu, thank you so much for coming down and showing me how to forage goods.
It's
And
been an absolute pleasure.
hopefully this is
Yeah.
tickled
Thank
your
you
fancy.
for cooking some food for me.
No worries. I
Mm.
think we better invite Rich and Alex over to try
Wow.
this
it's
other
been pretty
half.
rude not to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think we could see this becoming like a go-to recipe for me.